Welcome to Charcast, where we explore gaming and geek culture through the hills and hollows of West Virginia. Sorry, I should say hollers in honor of Rachel, who asked us to use hollers this week. I'm Travis.
I'm Doug.
Dave.
Rachel.
This is our first episode after our convention, Charcon, so that's going to be one of the big things we talk about. So we'll get right into that. If you didn't come to Charcon, I don't know what your problem was, but you missed a great event. Yep. Our attendance this year was a record setting. It was the most we've ever had. We were just short of 850 people, which is great. That was our third year at the Clay Center. Rachel, what did you think of the Clay Center as a venue for Charcon?
I really enjoy it. I was there last year, and I just think that it's a pretty space. I like the windows and stuff.
I was explaining to someone, I think part of the reason the con works so well is we all get vitamin D from from the windows. You're locked up at some other Origins or something, and when do you see the sun outside?
There's a lot of light, but it's not real.
It feels so open
unless you're
compared
in the
to others.
RPG area, and then you're on the stage. So
those guys suffer if they get too much sun.
I tell you though, that was
they're allergic to vitamin D.
The board game area on the balconies is great. We heard a lot of great things from our guests about how much the Clay Center is better than any venue they've been in, and some of them been to a lot of conventions.
Right.
Yeah. But the RPG area on the main stage was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you've listened to the latest Blue Peg, Pink Peg, but they were gushing over Charcon, and they talked about the venue quite a bit. Jason, I think, posted about how great of a venue it is. So a lot of our guests appreciate that, and that's a good gauge because they go to a lot of other conventions.
Right.
The way I got to where I was explaining it is, I'll never claim that we're the classiest convention, but we're in the classiest venue.
Absolutely.
So,
It does look nice.
It is. It's sharp.
I agree.
So I guess they fixed. I didn't even think to check on this last year, but they fixed the lighting problem in the board game area.
The lighting was really good on the third floor and not so good on the second floor. So we might have to consider using the same fix that we did, which was to use those bistro lights.
They're like patio lights we bought with bulbs about yay big.
So they didn't fix it this year.
Well, they fixed it on the third floor.
Third, but not the second.
Yeah. We had those last year.
The second floor was fine last year. It was like, I don't know what was up with the lighting, but it was still okay. But the third floor was actually excellent lighting.
Maybe they didn't have the lights turned up in the lobbies high or something. We'll have to do it. If we have to buy another strand, it wasn't too bad to buy those. I think it's 4 strands, and they were $30 a piece or something.
Yeah, so there's ways around it, and
and they're kind enough. They string them for us. So.
Sure.
I mean, I only brought that up because I played a game. I got a chance to play one game up there this year, and I could see it perfectly.
Right.
On the third floor.
On the third floor.
On the third floor.
Right.
What is that? I guess it is the third floor.
Third floor balcony.
Is that the floor with the library?
No,
No,
that's
the
the second floor.
That's where I played a game. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess maybe it was
depends
just
on the time, too.
situationally. At night, it was probably darker.
Yeah.
Well, I was out towards the founder's room instead of
That's
against the
probably a
wall.
That probably made
yeah.
a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but all said, it was the board game area is very successful. But like you said, the record attendance, and you could feel it this year.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of the Founders Lounge, we had our quick draw in there. I know you were there and saw some. Did you get to see any of it, Dave?
I got to watch quite a bit of it.
And you got to see some of it, right?
I still
know
owe JR $5.
Oh, did you?
I guess I owe Billy $5. I didn't think about it.
And that's the first time you've seen that event, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty neat, huh?
It was interesting.
I could tell you were, like, I was telling her, do this, and she was lost.
Well,
I felt
My
bad.
brother-in-law got really embarrassed.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. You asked him, what do you think? He doesn't speak English.
And what was it he said?
It's good.
Yeah. I said, what do you think that is? And he said, it's good.
The thing that I found funny was you hand out the tickets, and then you draw a ticket, and that person gets to choose what the person draws. And invariably, nobody has given any thought to what they want to have drawn. So you draw a ticket, and they have to sit there. It's as if they are expecting, well, my ticket's not going to be drawn. And
Right.
I mean,
they
you've
have to
got
sit there for 30 seconds.
You've got like a 1 in 6 chance of getting drawn in there because you draw 4. It's not like there's
Typically,
50
over
people.
half of the people at that event get to have a picture
I wasn't
drawn.
prepared when my ticket was drawn. I was like the first round though, and I was like, I don't know what
Right.
I
I
want.
also think you weren't prepared to hand out tickets. You're
I
like,
wasn't.
which one do I give them?
She was filling it out.
I think I was a little stoned.
One of them gives you like directions. It says, this is the one.
Words were too much for me.
The one that says keep this coupon.
As usual.
Why is it called a coupon?
So this year it was Billy Tackett, Mike Maney, Charles Urbach, and J.R. Earl.
Yeah, and there was some great art. I tell you, the Thor that
The
Patrick
Thor,
had them draw was excellent.
It was the thing about Maney, it was Thor getting his license renewed at the DMV.
Right, waiting in line to get his
With
license.
a sloth from that movie.
Zootopia. Yeah, that was a thing. I mean, he could have just drawn Thor,
Right.
which he did. He drew the Thor, the heavyset Thor from
Right.
the latest movie, but he added in that element with the sloth from Zootopia, which was just brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at the quality of the art that those guys turn out in 5 minutes.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I liked
it's mind-blowing.
Billy's. I didn't have time to think of mine. I was talking to people, and so I used the example that I'd given my sister because I knew she liked Doctor Who. I was so surprised that Billy had not seen Endgame and didn't know anything about Doctor Who. So
He's not big on pop culture
let me
references.
Google these things and.
Hey,
I'm
he still
constantly-
cranked it out though.
I'm constantly suggesting things to him that he needs to splatter.
I
and be
mean,
super popular.
my point was that for not having seen these things before, he
Oh,
got
yeah,
them.
he did great. Yeah,
I'd like this John Wick Elmo.
right.
One
really
was
good.
Awesome.
With the tie sticking up. Yeah.
But yeah, I think my favorite was the Thor at the
It was
DMV.
very good. Yeah, that was a good event. So also in the Founders Lounge, we did live streams this year, right? That's the first time we've done that. Thanks to our partners at Sprint, they helped us out with that. And we had live streams from Blue Peg, Pink Peg. They did an interview with Jason Matthews and then talked about games they'd played. And then Max Pugh, Jared and his crew did a live role-playing game. And then the guys that own Pure Steam were there, and they did one that featured several of our guests. And then we did one, and all of those are available on our on the Charcon Media YouTube page.
Right now, a few of them are one big long live stream, but I'm thinking I'm going to break them up into individual videos. It's not like we're getting enough views on them to get monetized.
Right,
So,
sure.
so I'm gonna break them up, fix some audio levels and stuff, and make them a little more presentable.
Yeah, and once you do that, we'll start pushing them. That way everybody can get a chance to watch.
That was a
them.
lot of fun. It was again nice venue, but Doug had the production set up. So
Right.
It worked really well.
Yeah, a lot of technical difficulties early on, but it's one of those things. You test it the night before, you pack up your computer, you unpack it, plug it up the same way, and everything is acting different.
Right.
And what do you do?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Sorry to Jared and his crew. They sort of play tested everything and worked the bugs out, but they dealt with a little bit of trouble. So next year, hopefully, we learn and improve and do better.
Next
right?
year I'll set
Right.
up the night before and just leave
Right.
it. I was trying to edit a wedding video the night before,
Yeah.
though, so I didn't want to do that.
So we talked about a couple of our guests. We had Charles Urbach, who is a great artist. Charles did our cover this year. He's also well known for having done Magic and a lot of board games, and also he does he created Crit, which is the mascot for Origins that a lot
Right.
of gamers would know. And then we had Jason Matthews, which is a great board game designer. He designed, among other things, Twilight Struggle, which was number 7 on board game, or number 1 on board
Number
game Geek.
7, come on.
For 7 years.
Number
right.
1 for 7 years, not number 7 for 1.
What is it nowadays? Is it like 5 or something?
It's still
up
way
there.
up there.
Well, I always, one of my good trivia questions I always ask is, how many of the top 20 board games these days were designed in the last 5 years or so? And the answer now is probably 15 or 16.
Oh, yeah.
It's very high.
Now,
And
something I think is interesting on the top 20 or top 10 is the number of games that are on there twice, essentially.
because there's 2 editions.
Through
or
the Ages is on there twice, or it was last time I looked.
Pandemic Legacy.
And Pandemic, there was another one, Terra Mystica and Gaia Project.
Right.
Technically different games, but pretty much
Pretty
the same.
much
Right.
the same, right?
The question I always follow that up with is, do you honestly think that 15 of the best 20 games ever were designed in the last 5 years? And typically people say no. It's just it's a trendy cult of the new thing where the hobby has grown so much in the last 5 years or 6 years that all those people are playing all the new games, so those are the games that get rated.
Well, there's also I think there's a Kickstarter effect. A lot of those games were kickstarted.
Sure.
And I think people tend to rate games that they follow for that much longer a little
Well,
higher.
you have a
You're
the most
invested
emotional
in
investment.
it. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
And
I'm not saying they're bad, but people are more invested
Sure.
in these games.
Right.
Yeah, but he was a great guy. His daughter was here with him.
Yeah, his daughter
and she
came and had a good time. Yeah.
Yep.
We also had Chris DeHart, who's the current Gencon costume contest champion. He doesn't like to say cosplayer; he's a costumer,
Costume
or
contest,
designer or
right.
something.
Well, it's not cosplay because he's not doing. A lot of them are original. They're not something.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the difference?
There's a lot of differences, but that's what he told me.
Because like the one that he won with was totally original.
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't
just
a
his
character.
own character.
And they make characters in pure Steam based on the costumes that he does.
Right.
Because
Or was it the other way around?
No.
It might be. It's one.
His
he
makeup.
does a costume, and if they like it, it gets turned into a.
His
a
makeup
character.
skills
It's-
blow
that's
my
how I-
mind.
Yeah. Did you get? Were you at the panel that he did? Well, I know he did his
No.
makeup there and taught
I
people how to
was.
do prosthetics.
I was at one. I was at the molding panel. I didn't make it to the early morning.
Yeah, I went to the
Oh, his
molding panel.
hobgoblin was. Well, I mean, it's tight, man.
Yeah.
He's got it down.
Yeah.
And look great.
You wait till you see him at Gen Con. You haven't seen him in like full costume yet. Even in the commercial we did, it was just face and neck. But I don't know if you saw the pictures of the steampunk lich he won in last year.
Yeah.
He'll have something crazy. He does a great job.
Yeah, I think this year he said it was because he talked about it on our Charcast that it was going to be a dwarf, but the dwarf is controlling the mech, so he's gonna be the mech, and the dwarf is gonna be like the little dude
Right.
that's on his chest controlling him or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds really wild. I think it's gonna look fantastic.
Are you-
Yeah, it was just his body was going to be made to look like a mech,
Right.
and the actual animatronic stuff was going to be made to look like natural things sitting in his real body.
I think it's gonna look.
I'm sure it'll look
cool.
great.
I'm
He does a good
excited.
job. Yeah. And then I don't want to forget the last guests we had were, we mentioned earlier, the guys from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, Jeremy and Patrick were there. They were
Yep.
they were great. They were super gracious in that they went out and they every time they saw somebody with a rule book open, if they knew how to play the game, they would stop and teach them how to play the game instead of letting them finish reading the rules. They came to the founders party and helped teach Fleet Dice and Cabo. They went to After Dark and Patrick knocked it out of the park singing Sweet Caroline. He was,
Sweet Caroline.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
I heard
Wasn't he
was
good?
I didn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't there for. I heard he was really good.
He was great. And
It's true. There's got to be a video.
So that-
I've got
Oh,
it.
Yeah, and then he came up later and he told me to pick a song, and he did "Boy Named Sue," even though he didn't really know it. But then as he was leaving, I grabbed him, and him and Michael sang Jackson. They duet, and he was Johnny Cash, and Michael was June Carter. Is that who sings that? June Carter with. Anyway,
It is.
going to Jackson.
yeah.
There's
it
a
was-
couple versions of it.
Yeah, it was very good. I have a video of that one. It was good stuff. That was after you had to leave, right?
Yeah.
To take care of Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan had a little too much fun.
We were
I'd
driving
have
home. We were just crossing the river before you, still on Washington before you get on the interstate.
Right.
And this car full of people pulled up next to us, and they're like, "Where you been? I want to feel like you. you got what I got. What going on?" It was
Was he
great.
hanging out the window or something?
Yeah, there's still puke on my car.
I think I'd have made him
Wow.
watch it by now. Yeah,
No,
he,
there's not. The rain got it the next day or so.
he had a little too much fun. That was an epic After Dark. I bet you we had, my estimate was 80 people there. What do you think?
At least.
At the peak?
Let's just assume 7 a table, and because that's I think how many was at your table.
And there were what, four or five tables?
There was 1, 2,
4 tables.
There were 5 tables, so that's 35, and then there was some standing, so I'd say 50.
Then
Yeah,
there was a room full of 15
was-
in the back. Or
Yeah,
20.
we were playing Paraphrase back there.
Right.
Which
Yeah, there
was,
were
that was a fun game.
A dozen people
especially with
standing in the corner that couldn't sit.
Yeah, that's how I got to 50.
That Paraphrase is a party game where you get the phrase is like a play on an actual song, like that woman is flammable. So that would be that girl is on fire or whatever.
This girl is on fire.
Yeah, exactly. So then you were trying to beat the other team to get the name of the song and then who the artist was, and then if you could sing it, you get some extra points. And just like any party game, it depends a lot on the crowd, and the people in that room were having a blast.
Look,
So
I think the free
it was
mead
fun.
made the party.
Well, he brought samples. Well, before we leave Paraphrase, that I've seen that game played at multiple conventions, and people always have a great time playing it. So I definitely I'm going to get a copy.
Who was running that game?
Well, so Rick Strand was there. It's from his company, which is
Flying Lemur.
Flying Lemur Games.
Yeah.
It's Flying Lemur Game Studio, which I noticed during the show. I hadn't noticed it before, but it is cleverly named Flying Lemur Game Studios because that also stands for FLGS.
FLGS.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hadn't noticed that before. But Rick was there, and the designer was there, and she's a great person. She's really fun to be around. They played the game. They did it at the show, but I think it just finished on Kickstarter, and I haven't looked, but I would guess that it's up for late pledge. So if you like party games and you like music, that is definitely the game for you.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned the mead. So one of our partners this year was Mountain Dragon Mazery out of Fairmont. It's a West Virginia product, and Tom was there. And Tom was a great guy. He was really a lot of fun.
Very interesting.
I think he felt welcomed at our show and fit right in. And
I welcomed his antler hat.
I loved that hat.
He told me that was his cosplay.
It was super cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. He had a great time, and he was kind enough to provide mead to our VIPs at our VIP dinner, and he brought some to the After Dark party, and people got to sample it. And then if they liked it, he had bottles that they could pick up right from him. So
He was delivering it to rooms,
Right.
Serving it at the bar.
yeah,
It was really good.
Yeah, and they sold it through the bar. Yeah, it was very good, and I think he'll be a long-term partner. He had a great time and
good.
was very happy with it.
Can we buy that anywhere?
There
any
are
time
a
of year?
few places
Yeah,
that carry it
Drug
now.
Emporium, and all the Drug Emporiums have it.
Okay.
Right.
And
I
there's
think he just got that
yeah,
deal done.
yeah,
so.
Embassy and Pies and Pints and several other
But
places.
he's a beekeeper as well. So
Right.
I mean he tends the bees,
Right, grows
that
and
make
cultivates all
the
the-
honey that he.
So I don't normally like mixed drinks. I spend most of the time drinking it straight, and in a lot of cases, it tasted like a better version of like an Angry Orchard, at least in the case of the Bosswood. But at the Founders Lounge, they had it with orange juice and grenadine and
Right.
pineapple juice.
Oh yeah, I had that one a couple times.
I had both of them a couple times, and I was broke, and I kept getting them. And like I said, I don't like mixed drinks that much, and it was definitely worthwhile. I
Yeah.
really like juice as little as I like mixed drinks. I just like juice.
Right.
So two things I like.
Those were excellent. And then the thing I'm going to try is he said, and so we had some people tried it. If you put frozen strawberries in the straight mead, he said it's excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of those where he approached us. And,
Well, you know how he contacted us is he's lifelong friends with Chris Sutton, which is Sherry's husband, the dice lady that comes.
Oh, okay, right.
So they've been friends forever, and I guess he asked Chris, "Do you know any conventions you should go to?" And he said, "Yeah, go to Charcon. It's a great convention."
It worked out great.
He contacted me, and we had to sort it out. He sent. The funny thing is, he sent the mead down early for the VIP because he didn't come until Friday, and the VIP dinner is on Thursday. And I was trying to sort out who could stop and pick it up, and Kaylin had to go up, and she's on her way back. And I was like, I could have my daughter stop, but she's not 21. He's like, yeah, let's not do that.
right.
So Kathy and Kaylin
All
stopped.
said, that was a good partnership. I was.
It was certainly,
real
yeah,
pleased
it
with
certainly was. It helped add to what I thought was an epic After Dark. I mean,
Sure.
we had karaoke nonstop for, and what did we do that for? 3 hours or?
Well, you did it for 3 hours.
Right.
I was at the convention.
I left at 3.
And we were still doing it. It was after 4 when I left down there. We probably stopped about 3:30, I think.
So we did it. You probably did it for 4 hours then, because I mean, there was a little hang up with the keys, but I think we got started by 11:30, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
everyone had a
Rachel
great
snuck
time.
out before she got to sing.
Ah,
I looked and you were gone.
Sneaky.
Sneaky,
well.
sneaky.
yeah.
Sneaky
so
little snake.
that was a success.
Sneaky.
Fantastic
Yeah.
success, I think.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
snake.
Game-wise, we were also very busy, right? We had over 120 RPGs scheduled, and they stayed very busy.
They stayed very
We
busy.
did 80-plus play-to-wins. We had the Catan qualifier, the Pandemic Survival event.
We had the Envoy,
Right.
the regional championships.
We had
and-
nine games. Only 8 of them went off because of a snafu. But
Right.
that means 8 people at our show won a badge and a hotel room to go to Gencon to compete in the national championship.
That's right.
So
For playing I think
For playing a free
Ice
game.
School or Wordsy.
right. So and it didn't cost
yeah.
anything to enter. You're right. Right.
Yeah, fantastic
Yeah.
event.
Those did very well. So hopefully we'll keep posting
And
those.
we had people coming from like Nashville, Tennessee.
Eric came from Louisville.
Louisville, yeah, from quite a few places, and got to see Charcon. I think they had a good time.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Did you I know. We talked to a bunch of people who said they'd seen the commercial online. Did we meet anyone who said they'd seen it on TV?
I didn't personally,
No.
I didn't either.
but
I didn't talk to everyone, so who knows?
Corey's girlfriend Becca said she was going to ask around because they live in Flatwoods up in that area, and that's the area that it shows. But they don't have cable.
I don't have cable.
Most people these days, if you don't live out in the country, have just streaming services. So I did hear. It seems
my
like
mom has Chantel. I should have asked her.
there you go. I did hear that Nicholas told me that he knew people who, or through my nephew, knew people who came just because they'd seen the commercial. Now I don't know if that means they saw it online, because we also promoted that a little bit, and it said 25,000 plus views on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
So
sure
Right.
and that's how Rachel's famous.
Which means
Her and the hot old guy.
That's right.
those 25,000 are paid, because if you just go to the Charcon Instagram, it's not on there.
Right.
That's got to be probably still the best value for advertising we've ever got for Charcon, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think we didn't spend any more than we usually do, but the clicks and
It
responses
was
were a
definitely
lot higher.
good.
It's a lot of views.
And I keep saying it, but Doug did a great job on the editing, and I mean, people said that was one of the best commercials, like local commercials they've seen. So.
I
Right.
couldn't believe how awesome it was. I watched it probably a couple dozen times.
Yeah, I showed it to everybody. I mean, even at the Clay Center I was making, have you seen the commercial? I mean, I talked about it constantly, and yeah, very, very proud of it. We're looking forward to doing some more. We were just talking about that earlier, right?
Maybe we can get a budget next time.
Maybe so. Maybe so. So we also saw great growth in our panels, right? You want to
Yeah.
tell us about that?
They went really well.
That's very, very descriptive.
I thought
Rachel
it
was
went
a
well.
lady of many words.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to
We've
say.
put her on the spot and she shut up.
Right. No, so I mean, like some of the panels we had, I know we had Chris DeHart did a couple of panels.
He did
His
a-
molding
he did a molding panel.
was very well
Right.
received. People
And-
were right up on that. We ended up pulling the table down so people could get like up close and see exactly what he was
Right.
doing.
He also did a prosthetics panel, right?
Yes.
And he just grabbed a random person, not so random. He talked to him the night before,
Right.
Because he needed to make sure their schedule was clear.
And they're not going to like have an allergic reaction to latex.
Right.
or
He did
something.
latex tests and stuff, but I do like the way he did it. He invited everyone up to a table smaller than this and just had them right up on
It
them.
was very
Yeah.
personal. I thought that was cool instead of like looking down at the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had some good panels, and you're going to have some ideas on how to grow that and make it better for next year, I'm sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I thought it went really well.
Certainly a great room for stuff like that, right? It's huge.
It's an awesome room.
Well,
the
we could-
stage
no-
lighting, I looked
So,
good in
so
the
our
pictures.
goal, our goal is that next year you'll fill that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a challenge.
Yes. The events
We have to
in that
have
room.
goals.
If we had enough people to fill that room, the events in that room would go well. Everything else would be in trouble.
That's exactly right.
Chaos.
So yeah, panel's good. I thought it was overall success. I had a great time at Charcon this year.
Yeah, I did too. If you didn't get to attend, make sure you watch for next year. I'm sure next year will continue to be growth and lots of new great stuff and all the other traditional stuff we do. If you didn't get to see the live streams, again, they're all on our Charcon media page. Doug will be splitting those up soon.
We're still working on theme for next year. We haven't made a decision
How do we
yet.
decide that?
Dude.
Well, normally we just decide it because we've got
Time
like
travel.
that's one of the suggestions. So normally
Yeah, it
we
is.
just decide because we've got one and we have an artist we specifically want to do it and it's a good fit for
I've already
them-
made
them
decisions.
drawing. Oh, have you?
Nikki and I have a plan.
Oh,
This year was, I mean, it kind of fell in our laps. I mean, with the
with Fallout, we
76.
did it to try and capitalize on the Fallout,
Yeah.
which didn't pan
capitalize
out as well.
on a thing that cannot be
I
capitalized
didn't
on,
know
apparently.
we were going to do
Well-
Fallout stuff.
well,
I have a bunch of Fallout gear.
Well,
when
it's
we
West
made-
Virginia, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
Why do we do Borderlands cosplays?
because that's
Because
coming up, and Fallout didn't end up
Fallout
being as popular.
Ended up
as
sucking.
I
I mean, let's be
playing it.
honest.
I enjoyed.
I don't know
playing
what he's talking about. I enjoyed it.
I didn't finish it.
Have you
but
played the
neither
other
did
games?
Bethesda, so-
did you play the other
I
one?
played all the games.
And you still feel that game was acceptable?
I didn't. It wasn't as good as the other games, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
They should have done. They should have play tested and developed it for another year.
You know, you could have
Well,
just played those
come
games
They,
a second
they
time,
rushed
right?
to get it out. It did feel rushed.
Yes. Well, they never rushed with any of the other Fallouts. They took the time to develop, and they rushed this one.
You never saw bugs in another Fallout?
Well, I didn't say there weren't
I
bugs.
love the meme, like the dog floating in the air or whatever.
There's always been physics
You always
issues
see
and-
funny stuff like a mutant flying across the.
Right. We did Borderlands because it was a good fit for having the 5 girls do it. Plus, the Borderlands events, the game's coming up soon.
Okay.
Well,
so-
next year the big game's going to be what? Cyberpunk, Outer Rim. I'm mostly excited for Cyberpunk next year.
Cyberpunk looks awesome.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put up a post in the Facebook and let people suggest themes, and then we'll all discuss it and pick the one we think is the best fit. So you
Okay.
can feel free to suggest your
okay.
Whatever
your
this,
and Nikki's
this
master
plan
plan.
you have. Yeah.
We're gonna be lesbians.
Oh.
I'm gonna be a
Oh.
lizard.
A lizard. Okay.
We discussed it at Pizza Hut.
That fits in with
Doctor
the
Who
time
stuff.
travel. You
Yeah.
want to be the what's her name? The
Madam something with an R. No,
I usually
Madam
know it.
Ventura or
Ventress.
I think I have it.
Ventress is
Ventress.
something. Assad Ventress is something else. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
Vastra, Madam Vastra.
Oh, okay.
She's the underground Hollow Earth reptile lady
Right.
I'm a
I know
sneaky
who
little
I know who
snake.
you're talking
from the
about.
Victorian times.
Yeah.
So watch our Facebook page to suggest.
And Nikki's gonna
your-
be my wife.
Isn't she
What?
canonically Doctor Who, or sorry, Sherlock Holmes or something like that? Wasn't there an episode where she solved some of his stuff?
I
Probably.
feel like you're using this to lobby for your theme.
Everyone go
Well,
suggest
I'm going to lobby
time
for
travel.
Dune because it gives me an excuse to get Dune to the table.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do space. You could do TI4 to the table.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
I've played
yeah.
that a lot more than Dune though, and I'd like to play Dune again. I could even get Cavender to play a game next year.
And he could take notes.
That's right.
All right. So anyway, if you were at Charcon, thanks for coming. If you weren't, fix that next year. You've got some time to plan. So
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
right. Checkity check.
Yeah, it was worth it.
So let's talk about what we've been playing.
I played Escape Plan
Finally,
over the
someone played
weekend, and it was great. It was great.
Who played?
Jordan and I, we played with an AI player, and I would say the only complication we had was the AI player, and
He was smarter than you guys.
no.
I hate when that happens.
Heck, they don't even score anything; they just block spaces.
Right.
But I would compare it weight-wise to some of his other games. I think it's
It's
got-
Vital Lacerda,
yeah,
right?
it's Vital Lacerda. I think it's much easier than Lisboa. I'd say it's about the same as the Gallerist as far as weight. And what I mean by that is, it is a heavy game, but I think Lisboa is a game where it's got all these random things going on, and not all of them match the theme, so it's hard to memorize them. But in the Gallerist and Vinhos and this, I think all those things going on fit the theme so much that if you're going to like guess what a rule is, if you know anything about heist movies, then you could guess how that rule is going to work out, if that makes sense.
Sure. The theme and the mechanisms fit together well enough that they make sense and it's easy to remember at that point.
Right. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Jordan keeps asking to play it again. We played
That's your copy of Escape
It
Plan,
is,
right?
yeah. What was the playtime on that for you?
2 hours.
Yeah, we'll have to play it maybe this weekend or maybe even one night this week. But I definitely want to play. Definitely. Dave, what have you played lately?
The game I've been playing lately is, and shout out to Travis Orders here, is Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth. And that game is, if you're familiar with Mansions of Madness 2.0 that came out with the app from Fantasy Flight Games.
Sure.
It uses an app, so it's app driven, and the app drives, it tells you, okay, here's you put this map piece out, and then you put this guy here, and then this token goes here, and it shows you where to put things, or you can search this thing over here. And then, like, if you move over there and you search it, you tap the app, and it tells you what it was. It might be you found some people over there that you need to investigate, or things like that. And of course, all the combat, it drives the combat. But the game is extremely well done. I like Mansions of Madness. It was one of my favorite games of that year, and I think with this game they really cleaned up a lot of the issues with Mansions. I think the best thing about it, it uses a card-driven system for determining tests and combat and all of that stuff. And it's super simple. You have a deck of about 15 cards. Some of the cards have successes on them. Some of the cards have what's called fate on them. And what you do is if you have to make a test, say a strength test, you say my strength is 3, you flip 3 cards off your deck, you see how many successes you got. You can turn fate into successes by using inspiration tokens that you get, and then you just put that in the app and it tells you the effect. So tests are super fast. You can, boom, 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 you're done. You know the result, goes to the next thing. So great game. I highly recommend it.
I hear you. Sounds fun. What about you, Rachel? What have you been playing lately?
Mostly D&D, but I've also been playing with Luxor and the Mummy's Curse expansion, trying to get ready for Gencon.
Oh, okay. Didn't you just play a game? Mm-hmm. What game did you just play?
The Copenhagen Roll and Ride.
Right. What'd you think of that? You were excited to play it.
Yeah, I like it. I think that it's a little bit more complicated than the original.
I'm not sure that's true.
I like looking at like the special ability tiles and like being able to flip them over and know when I've used it and not having to like look at and mark little X's.
There's a lot. The thing with the roll and write is you can really do a lot of. You can get some analysis paralysis because you have multiple things that you can do and how you string them together to really like to have a big turn.
It's a combo game then.
Yeah, it's definitely a combo.
It wasn't as clear to me, and I was always.
You can combo in Copenhagen. I think it's not as straightforward in the roll and write, but it's still very good.
I think the rules aren't any more complex. It's just the way you can layer the combos, and it's easier to get more combos there than it is in the base game because you only get 2 or 3 powers and you have to flip them back over. So there's more opportunity to get combos, I think, in the roll and write, and seeing the way to use them isn't always. It takes some thinking and figuring out.
It takes some thinking, figuring out. It takes some experience with it too.
I'm gonna need to play it a few more times.
I would agree with you. I think it's a little more complex than the base game.
I don't disagree either.
Looking at it, it's so different.
I didn't play, so my opinion was worthless. I was just teasing her.
I think
It just looks hard.
the thing that amazed me about it though was it's like when they created Copenhagen, it just fell into a roll and write, just like
it
so
fits very well. Yeah,
there's 5 colors in Copenhagen, and so you have a 6-sided dice, so you have 5 colors and a wild. It fell right
when they
into
first
it.
told me that we had one that was ready. I was like, well, wow. I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to be very good, but I think it's excellent.
Yeah, it is a very good roll and write.
And it
happened fast, right?
Yeah, they had it ready. I think we put it out a little quick, but they had it ready quick. Once they saw the success, I think they may have. My guess is they had already started working on it. So
might hear that.
Yeah. So and it's on Kickstarter. It won't be by the time we put this episode out, but I'm sure we'll be up for a late pledge. But yeah, it's different, but it's also, I love what I call backpack games. And that's one you can throw in your backpack and always have with you wherever you go. And
right.
A lot of people call it something else, where the travel games,
a bar game, or
whatever it is. But
I think I've heard backpack games. Hive is in there, or. I played Evolution. I put that as a backpack game.
The Mint games, Teach You. I mean, there's a lot of games. Any copy of Love Letter, any version of Love Letter, those are all great backpack games.
I've got a copy of Love Letter, and I never played it.
Really? It's a great little card game.
I'm sure.
So you did say you've been playing D&D, though?
Yes.
So what's your character?
I'm a half-orc barbarian.
I can see that.
Yeah.
She made her character straight from the commercial.
No, I already had that. And
No,
I just
he's a
happened to have that
hobgoblin.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just happened to have all that stuff. That's why I had an axe.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it going well? You having fun with that?
It is a blast.
Even though Randy's playing?
Randy's a better DM than I thought he'd be.
Did you hear that, Randy?
Have we mentioned his name? He'll be happy.
Speaking of D&D, I've got some D&D miniatures that aren't mine. Before I forget, I don't know whose those are, but we need to figure that out.
Somebody claim your miniatures.
Reasonable chance that they're mine. So we'll see.
They're either your sons or they're Matt's.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there may be Matt's. So, anyway, we'll sort that out. So, I have been playing Lots of Queen stuff because Gen Con's coming up, and that's generally what I play a lot of. I also played the roll and write with them, but we've been playing, just getting ready. We've got a copy of Merlin Knights of the Round Table, which is the newest expansion for Merlin, so we have to be ready for that. This will be the first convention we have Luxor Mummy's Curse at, so we got to be ready for that. Arthur is still relatively new as well, so we have that. That's new. And of course, playing Copenhagen and just getting ready for Gen Con. That's what I spend most of my time playing. I did play Fleet the Dice game at Charcon. I got to teach that, and I taught a couple other games when I was out wandering around. But we've been so busy between recovering from Origins and getting ready and then running Charcon. I just haven't had time to play many games.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's one right after the other, for sure.
What's this Arthur game?
Arthur's an expansion for
Merlin.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Arthur's the king.
I need to
I've
play
never heard
that.
of him.
Oh.
Did he try the sword thing?
It's overrated.
They might have made a movie about it, right?
Well, I mean, the watery tart lobbing scimitars is no basis for government.
That's right. I agree.
3 of us get that reference.
I really need to play Merlin.
You don't
I've never
understand a watery tart tossing a scimitar is no form for a base of government. You don't get that.
I think technically it's lobbing a scimitar.
Lobbying, whatever it is.
It's Monty
It's
Python
from
reference.
Monty Python.
Okay.
You never
talking-
seen Holy Grail?
Yeah. I've seen it like a lot.
Okay, so the peasant,
Yeah.
he's oppressing me. That he says that why should you be king just because some tart tossed you a sword?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I explained a joke and I made it not funny.
Right. Jokes are never as funny when you have to explain them. So we should
You
just.
need to watch.
I should have
Monty
left it
Python.
alone. I was just like,
Speaking of Monty Python, we had several good Monty Python costumes. Did you see? You saw Corey's, right? If you don't know Corey Lake, Corey's one of our
was the
directors.
Black Knight.
Yeah, and Corey
Oh.
recently, due to some health issues, had to lost a foot.
And I saw a bunny
And-
there. Or
and he-
something?
so Corey was dressed as the Black Knight in his wheelchair, running around. If you don't know the Black Knight from Monty Python, you need to go check it out. So Corey
I
definitely.
won't explain that joke.
He had a pre-existing flesh wound, and then there was a Tim there. Did you see the guy that was dressed as Tim?
I saw the
No,
Tim.
I did not see
Yeah, Tim. So, well, at least there are some who
Did
call,
they call him
Tim.
Tim? Yes.
The Enchanter.
Yeah. Then there was a bunny in the raffle.
That's what it
That
was.
Chris Goodlett, on behalf of Family Game Night and Extra Life, donated several things, and one of them was one of the bunny with the look at the bones.
Right.
And the other one was a Black Knight figure that Corey ended up winning with detachable limbs. They would all come off of the figure. So yeah, there was lots of money.
I'm glad he won that. You know.
There can never be enough Monty Python at Charcon, in my opinion. There's a theme.
There's a couple cosplayers
There's
I've seen a
a
lot
theme.
lately that have got like the
Yes.
coconuts. I see them at like every convention except for
How would the coconut have gotten to Europe, though?
It was either an African or a European swallow.
Right. What is this airspeed velocity of a laden swallow, Rachel? Do you know?
African or European?
We are throwing out way too many Monty
that's
Python
bad.
jokes for Rachel. One of us is younger than the rest of us.
Right.
2 of us is younger than the rest of us, but one
There's
is.
not a big age difference between us.
I don't know. I'm 31.
I'm 25.
Okay.
I'm 29.
We're
I'm
closer
older
than
31.
you and I are closer than the difference between me and him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just barely.
Just barely, huh?
So
Okay, enough about age.
Yes, we
How old are the hot old guys? That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I'm 49.
I'm 50.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this to the guy that commented.
You know
On
my dad's
Instagram.
like 52. You
I'll
guys
share
are
all
old
the
enough-
Charcast to him.
Okay.
Practically as old as my dad.
Yeah, practically. I will say people seem surprised when I tell them I'm 49. How old did you thought I was? What, in my 30s, right?
Yeah.
Rachel thought I was like 35 or 35.
Wow.
Yeah. It's my chismo.
It must be.
So I mentioned Gen Con, so I think we're going to move on to talking about Gen Con because me and Dave and Rachel and a bunch of the rest of our crew are getting ready to head to Gen Con. Unfortunately, Doug's not going this year.
Gen Con.
Gen Con, if you don't know, is the biggest tabletop convention in the United States. It draws somewhere close to 70,000 people annually.
Just a little bigger than Charcon.
A little bit.
70,000. It was like 500,000 turnstile in 2017 when I went.
Crazy. And
It
it's
is nuts.
Ever since that anniversary year, it's been sold out every year, basically. They sold out every year.
They hang out there at the doors clicking for every person that comes in. But that means they count people 10 times in some cases.
Well, that's
but-
turnstile.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure that they count it. I think like the way they do turnstile is if you buy weekend badge, they assume
No,
that.
I've seen the people. They're
really?
Every guard at the door is standing there clicking.
Huh. Most conventions, they just count you there for
They
Thursday,
might be
Friday,
doing that
Saturday,
too
Sunday.
for
Fire marshal purposes. Yeah, most like if I were to do turnstile, if you came for the weekend, you bought a weekend badge, I would count you 3 times.
Gotcha.
Even if you weren't there all 3 days. That's the way most conventions do it. We don't do turnstile attendance, but Gencon has announced it that way sometimes.
We should do
Unique
turnstile.
unique attendance, they get close to 70,000.
Yeah,
which is a
60,
lot.
70,000. It's big.
It's huge. It takes
What is
over
it at
downtown
Origins,
Indy.
like 25 or something?
Origins is right around 20 is what they announced this
18,
year.
20,
I think they
yeah.
were at 20 or 21 this year. And PAX Unplugged is a similar size, and then Origins is or Gen Con's just
That's the
much
big
bigger.
dog, yeah.
Takes over downtown Indianapolis. If you're not there for Gen Con and you're in downtown that time, you're even like when there's a Colts game, because we've been there when there's been a like a preseason Colts game. Gen Con is still way bigger,
Right.
and they use the Colts Stadium now. So
Yeah, it's actually, yeah.
There's a tunnel under the street between the center and the Colts Stadium,
Lucas Oil Field.
and
yes.
they play stuff.
yeah.
I tell you, that having that Lucas Oil Field venue has helped some of the congestion.
Yeah, they put everything. They put all sorts of stuff. I think Bill Wallace has his Artemis laser tag stuff over there.
My Cardboard of the Rings buddies, I think their listener event, podcast
Over there.
listener event, is going to be at Lucas Oil Field this
Yeah,
year.
they put a lot of stuff over there. A lot of board games. I mean, they're basically on the field playing games, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's a sight to behold. So, of course, we've got the massive food trucks. I sent the list out, and Tim Phillips is committed to eating from a food truck every day.
He's going to eat at the Cupcake food truck every day. I
I
guarantee
saved
it.
the list, and there's also Lyft and Uber discounts.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know there's a Lyft pickup where you can specifically go there, and they're usually waiting or they'll be there quickly, and you get discounts. Lyft and Uber are nice in that if you share with each other, you can always get some sort of discount.
Yeah, they shared a discount code for like attendees at Gen Con to get like 20% off their first 2
So
trips.
like 2016 or something, we did a lot of lifting and Ubering, and we just kept one person signed up for a new account, referred someone, and didn't pay for a single one.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes they give you like your first 5 rides free and stuff.
It was our deal was like sign up, you get your first ride, first $15 free, and so there were so many of us just
Right.
Everyone does it at
whatever.
a different time.
Right.
just refer to somebody and get the bonus.
There's a lot of great eateries and bars to go out and have a drink.
Oh,
and-
there's no, as we were discussing earlier, there's no shortage of things to do
Right.
at Gen Con. So.
And by the time you're ready to come back from dinner or the bar, you're beat. I always take an Uber. I mean, even if people are like, "I'm going to walk," by then my knee is pretty much given up on me, and I'm ready to take the Uber back.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm looking forward to this year is, we'll be in the Queen booth, but we will be there with special guest
Stefan Feld.
Stefan Feld.
Right. Yeah.
And also teaching games in the booth with us is going to be Jason Matthews.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we have 2 fantastic board game designers at the booth with us this year. And I guarantee you, just because of Stefan Feld is going to be there, we're going to have a line just for that.
Yep. I've actually been working on the schedule.
So what is Feld doing at the booth?
He's our guest. He'll be.
He's your guest,
Yeah.
yes. But
He's
what does
our
that
guest.
mean? Is he
He's
signing
our
autographs?
guest.
Is he,
He's our guest.
Is he signing games? Is he teaching games? Is he playing
So
games?
all of the above. I haven't released that yet, so this will be an exclusive for you, Doug. I'm working on the schedule. There'll be a time each day where he'll be signing autographs, and I'll be putting that schedule out. There's going to be a time 2 of the days where for 2 hours I'm going to send an email out to all of our Kickstarter backers. I'm going to send that out this week as soon as I'm done with the schedule, and I'm going to basically be telling them if you want to come and play a game with Stefan Feld, respond, and I'll give you the spot. First come, first serve, and once they're gone, they're gone. So about 20 of each session will be about 20. So 20 of our Kickstarter backers will get the chance, and it won't be play a game with him. It'll be all the tables will be free.
Play a game with him in the room.
He'll be wandering around talking to people
In
and
his presence.
and it'll be one of his games. So we'll have Merlin out. We'll have. Can you name all the Queen Feld games?
The Queen Feld games. Merlin in America?
There are 2 more. There are 3 more.
I can't then.
Roma.
Roma.
I've not. Okay.
Roma 2?
Roma the Arena, right?
The
That's
Arena,
2. And there's
yeah.
one more.
I didn't know he
You
did
won't get
Roma.
the other one. You when I tell you, you'll say that's a Feld game. You'll remember the game.
Oh, I know what it is. It's it's the one. It's
Right. It Happens.
It happens. That's
Yeah,
it,
with the
yes.
little.
I don't know that game.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And I didn't know Roma was his.
yeah.
I didn't want to say the word I was thinking, but
Right,
yeah,
but that's what it's about. It's
Right.
about
It-
bugs moving poop around, and it happens. Right.
it happens. Right.
Right, that was an early one of his games, but yeah. So I know we'll have all of those there, and maybe even Roma. We definitely have some Arena, and It Happens, and Amerigo, and Merlin. So we'll put all those down out, and people can play any of them. And
I like Amerigo a lot.
Amerigo's a great
I
game.
really like I think I like Merlin a little more.
Yeah, yeah,
No, it's going to be exciting having it in
yeah.
there.
We're gonna do a small media event, and then other than that, I mean, that's generally those are the things I have scheduled for him to do.
You doing the media thing like you did at Origins?
You can't do that completely at Gen Con, but it's going to be something similar to that. I mean, there are tables, so we're going to close down the demo area one day a little early and invite the media to come in and answer questions and stuff. Sales will stay open, but we'll have our demo stuff closed off for a little while. That's the plan anyway. And we've got some space in the tabletop hall this year, so we can have a little overflow for demos, so we
Yeah.
can do them out there during that period.
Well, now you, Rachel, said you were looking at the catalog at all the events, and did you find any that piqued your interest?
The Critical Role cast is going to be there. I'm pretty excited about that. There's a lot of crafting stuff as well, like make and takes. You can go in and like play with minis. You can play with Warbler. They're making crowns.
Yeah, you can find just about anything related to gaming or geeky hobby related stuff at Gen Con. It's massive. It's huge. You
Yeah.
can.
I think you'll have a good time.
Yes, it's Rachel's first time, so it's not only her. We got several first time people, right? So Randy's first time. I think Jessie has been to Gen Con before. Jessie, who's the librarian at Lexicon Sin City Con, she's on our crew now. I think she's been, so I don't know if it's her. It'll be her first time working, but I think she may have been to the convention before. I think that's it for first timers this year.
Well, yeah. So there's more than enough stuff to do, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Heck, if I went, I wouldn't have enough time to just do all the shopping that I want to do, and I never seem to have enough time.
That's
Well,
what I'm
if
most
if you,
excited
if
about.
you want to do shopping, you got to talk to Jason, because Jason will have a list of all the booths and where they're located and what games they have and which ones he's interested in.
and how quick you need to get there, how likely they
Right.
are to sell out.
Right.
Yeah. One of the nice things this year is Gen Con has always allowed you in as an exhibitor at 9 o'clock, and you can stay in the hall until 7. But the problem is they would allow press and the VIGs in at 9 o'clock as well. They would give them early access.
The first day.
You kind of had to be at your booth. But now they'll let you in at 8, and nobody else can get in until 10. So you've got kind of that window to walk around and
And
look at
hopefully
stuff.
buy stuff unless you've got a real jerk hole
We
company.
certainly don't want to mention that company, but yes, that was. They have put out some games since then that I thought I really would like to have a copy of, and I've not bought them
Yeah.
because of that. I won't buy a copy of theirs.
Ditto.
Just specifically because of that.
I mean, I was going to trade with them at Origins last year and didn't because
Right.
they weren't even
Yeah,
nice
the
then.
whole thing with being a vendor is the way I look at it is we're there. It's a long day, and we're all in that thing together. I mean, we're so let's help each other out.
We're all fans of games, or we wouldn't be there.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Yeah.
enjoy playing games, and yeah, that was an unfortunate circumstance, and it was over the top rude, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that
We won't
shouldn't be
mention the game
Right,
company.
we
will
haven't
not.
even mentioned what happened.
Right.
Well,
It's not important.
Right. So what else happens at Gen Con that we're excited about?
I'll probably cut that out.
I don't think you need to cut it out. We didn't say who it was. Not every
Right,
gaming
right.
company is
As
Okay.
gracious as we are, right?
right.
I'm probably gonna go. I'm probably gonna hit a couple of meetups. I know that I'm gonna go to my friends the Cardboard of the Rings and the Cthulhu, the Arkham Horror Mythos Busters are gonna have an event at the Slippery Noodle.
Is Mythos Busters because they play Mythos?
It's because they play Arkham Horror, the card game.
Oh, okay.
And So they're going to be having an event, and I'll be going to that. Plus, I'll probably go. There's a couple of podcasts I listen to, the State of Games and the Geek All Stars, and I think they're going to be. At,
Yeah, I just got an invite to the Geek All Stars one.
Yeah, what's that? What's the name of the
Poorhouse?
restaurant? No, it's not. Are they doing it at the Poorhouse?
That's what the email I got, I think.
Okay.
Says. Ask me later and I can look. But
All right.
yeah.
But- Yeah, saw them at Origins.
Yeah.
So I'll probably head to that.
I'll probably go to the one on Saturday for the Cabal. I think Ryan and I are going to go to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then any other ones I want to go to, I'll just take Rachel along because if I can't get in, she can get me in.
Yeah.
I don't think you've heard that story.
I don't think we're going to tell
We're
that
not going to
story.
tell that story.
Not on camera.
No. The one thing that I've not gone to, and I've toyed of maybe going to it, but it's going to be Wednesday night
think
this
I've heard
year.
that story
It's the
referenced.
Fantasy Flight
Yeah.
in-flight event where they talk about all of their upcoming things that are going on. But as I understand it, it's going to be on Wednesday night this year, and Wednesday evening that is beer garden night because that's when the beer garden opens.
When they tap
and
the original beer. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about what the Gencon beer is this year. Have you checked that out?
I haven't. I mean, I normally don't even go drink it because it's never a
I wasn't.
stout.
I was a big fan of it last year. A couple years ago, it was good, but we'll see.
It's from Sun King, right?
Yeah, Sun King Brewing, and they always do I think they do a themed beer.
Seems like one year they did a Dunkel, I think, and it was good.
They did a coffee flavored beer one year.
Yeah.
But last year I wasn't super impressed. But there's always, then there's good bands over there at the beer garden. And
Yeah.
of course all the food trucks lined up
Yeah.
around it.
Wednesday is finish loading in and then go relax, play some prototypes, and get some rest to get ready for the chaos.
No, I'm hitting the beer garden Wednesday evening.
That's your big party night.
That's right.
That way you have days to recover. Speaking of Gen Con, Michael Maney told me to challenge you to a CrossFit off at Gen Con.
Uh-oh.
A
'Cause-
CrossFit off.
Because he has now started doing CrossFit. And I think he's throwing down the gauntlet that you guys have to go to CrossFit together.
Well, they have a 5K there too. The Orc Stomp 5K.
I'm reasonably sure he's not ready for the 5K.
Well,
He
I
could
checked
walk it.
and it is sold out. But I may just do a bandit run and do it anyway.
Well, Jesse runs too. Jesse runs a
Right.
lot of stuff. You could get Maney up. He'd still be drunk by the time that starts.
Stumbling through the Orc Stomp 5K, that would be interesting.
Yeah. That's a trip that it sells out. I wonder
I
how
think
many
it's at
tickets.
6:00 in the morning.
No way. There's no way I'd get
Which
up.
that's early. That's pretty early for me.
There's no way I would get up at 6 a.m. to run anywhere. Maybe the bathroom.
So, well, if he wants a CrossFit off,
Maybe we
CrossFit off we
can
shall
we can
have.
talk James into going with you guys, and then James and Michael will. Dave last year struggled after. Was it last year you did it? 2 years ago?
I've done it the past couple years.
Yeah. Was it last year when you were like hurting afterwards? Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
I'm pretty sure if Dave's hurting, Michael would be hating life.
Dead.
How many have you done this year so far?
CrossFit.
Or sorry, I meant 5Ks.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about 5Ks.
run like 2 or 3, and I did a trail run, a 15K trail run.
Why didn't you ask how many I've run?
How many have you run, Travis?
In
your life?
None. Well, I mean, I used to run probably 2 to 3 a week playing basketball, but I never really could run just to be running. It was
Yeah,
never-
I couldn't either. I did that couch to 5K one time, and I got up to like 3K.
Rachel's a runner.
I like to run.
Yeah,
She's usually running from photographers and stuff.
that's right. Paparazzi.
And goats and bombardier raccoons,
Recently, bears.
bears,
And bears, right.
and lions and
What kind
tigers.
of raccoon was that?
Bombardier. Did you not hear that story?
I heard the story. Just
Rachel has a lot of raccoon stories, which is
An abnormally large number.
I came back from Christmas break at college one time and had a house full of possums.
yeah.
I don't have any
Oh.
raccoon stories, but possums. They had crawled in through the ventilation, which it turns out was just open to my crawl space in the drop ceiling, and they fell through a fluorescent light plastic cover were locked in my bedroom trying to climb the blinds.
How'd that work out?
They were still alive when I got back, and I've been gone for about 2 or 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I mean, it was Christmas break.
When you opened the door, did they freak out?
No, they were like almost
Did they
dead.
play dead?
They played possum.
Right.
They do that.
So I went to the school. I had lab keys and stole some tongs and some welding gloves. Yeah, and got them that way. Threw them in some Tupperware.
That sounds like
That's a
fun.
heck of a story, Doug.
And got them outside. I mean, they were still alive. There was a big problem for the rest of the year, though.
If you ever need varmints removed, you can call me.
Yeah.
That's almost as dark and gruesome as Rachel's raccoon
Oh my
story.
God.
We won't talk about that either. There's a lot of stuff we're
You
not
got
going
any
to
stories you can talk about?
I'm sure I could think of some if I had more time.
Sure.
Yep. Gen Con.
Gencon. Gencon is coming up next week. We leave on Tuesday and Wednesday. The show starts on Thursday, and we'll be there till Sunday, and then we'll come home and go into a coma. And
I
sleep
tell you,
in a
I
coma.
like Gen Con, but another thing I like about it is the vendor hall will be there from 10 to 6.
Yes.
And then after 6 is we're
Yes,
on
the
our time.
place where we have our booth at Origins, it's 9 to 8, and those extra 3 hours. Plus, it's also open on Wednesday from noon to 8. So
Right.
that amounts to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 hours. So that's 9, plus the 8 on Wednesday. So it's 17 more hours. And that's, from a Queen perspective, that's great because that's time for us to show people games and sell games. But man, from a working perspective, it's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah.
So.
So I'm looking forward to Gen Con this year.
Yeah, I like PAX for the same reason, except PAX has that crazy open until 6 o'clock on Sunday thing, and that's
Oh.
just, oh my gosh, that's just
I
crazy
bought new
talk.
tennis shoes
Did you? What
for
brand?
this. They're Nike.
Nike. Are you wearing them?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Took them out of the box right before I got here.
Nice. I bought some just before Origins, and they're white, and they're not as nearly as clean as yours.
My feet hurt so bad after Origin, so I got some new shoes. I'm hoping that
You know,
that
it's
helps.
that concrete. It just doesn't.
Right.
When you walk on other floors or carpet and stuff, it gives you some energy back, but that concrete does not give you anything.
Everything
back.
hurt.
Don't
My
you
knees,
guys
my
have a
back.
padded floor at
We
Gencon?
we have a small pad, but it doesn't cover the whole thing. But we're actually planning to order some. I just talked to the hotel today. I had to call and extend a couple of rooms because Rajiv and Ulrich are staying over till Monday. So I had to call and do that and do a couple other things. And one of the questions was, so in the past I've had some boxes delivered there. And I know that's cool, right? And the girl's like, yeah, that's no problem. And I was like, is there a limit to the number of boxes I could have delivered there? And she said, no, not really. We just put them in the storeroom, and as long as you pick them up, within a couple days, that way they don't sit back there, because a lot of people have boxes delivered during Gen Con. I said, are you sure? And she said, yeah. I said, because we're thinking about ordering something for our booth, and we don't really have anywhere locally to have it delivered, and it's going to be like 13 or 14 boxes of 24-inch flooring. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, all right, I'm going to remind you said that. So, yeah, we're thinking about doing that and just having it sent to the hotel. So that'll be...
I think
That'll make it a little
I
more
think that'd be
comfortable.
beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing it for years. It's just a matter of making it happen. It definitely helps, and it's nice for the customers to be able to walk on it, too. Because I know when I go out and walk around the hall, when I see booths that have the padding, I always slowly cut through those booths. You get a little cushion for the...
Yeah,
for the
but don't
dogs.
cut through the Queen booth. Not during your rush
It is
somewhere else.
not a walkway.
That's very rude.
Right.
We're gonna be haymakering people that do that.
I was just showing her a video of Gen Con opening 2017, and we had positioned guys on every aisle, and we were obviously only letting people in who were interested in our stuff. Didn't work too well.
Did he show you the mass of people running?
People were just like running.
And that was like one of 20 doors.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why are they running?
Oh,
Because
because
there's
some
a limited-
booths
Some stuff sells out.
Yeah.
they only bring so many copies, or they want,
Or they're giving away something.
or they have a game there that's not for sale. You can only demo it, so they want to get to the table and play it. Because otherwise, you have to be there. Otherwise, you have to time. If you're not there at the beginning of the day, you have to be there when the people playing get up, and you'll have to stand around forever waiting.
Gen Con is
So-
often the debut of something.
Right.
So-
way more new games at Gen Con.
I just want to run around and act like a
And-
mosh pit.
But a lot of people there, they just come to shop, and they're too impatient to wait till hits
And-
the internet for $200
and they will have
more.
they'll have their route plan. They know which door they need to be at,
Right.
and which booth it is, and what route they need to take.
Yeah.
And they're not
Oh, yeah.
supposed to run. I didn't see anybody like
It's
flat
a very
out,
fast walk.
very fast walk. I didn't see anyone flat out running.
You
but-
go to something like Capstone. I mean, they're a small company. They'll bring just a couple hundred games. Even Fantasy Flight sells out of stuff, as much stuff as they bring. They sold out of TI4 in 2017.
Well,
and it was
the weird
crazy.
thing about Fantasy Flight is they may still. I don't even think they still haven't announced the stuff that they're going to have at Origin, at Gen Con.
Well, it was a surprise that TI4 came out, and
that was a surprise.
and it
yes.
still sold out the first day.
Yeah.
They just and instead, luckily, I like what they did. They gave people cards, and if you took a card, they would hold it for you until Saturday, and you just had to come back and wait in the line at some point.
Right.
And there was still always a line.
Yeah, you weren't able to go before 10 to get it.
The line was there.
Oh, even before 10.
Yeah, I went before 10, and the line was 100 people long.
Something about them and Asmodee in general, they don't announce what their new stuff is at Gen Con until like the last minute, but it doesn't matter because, that's like, they're like Vader, right? Everybody wants to listen to what Vader has to say.
That's right, or he'll choke you.
That's right. There's actually something I want to go and see at Gen Con. I don't normally get out and see demos and stuff. Over the years, there's been a couple of things I've made time to go check out. But did you see about the new thing that Cool Mini's doing, the table? It's a new gaming platform. So I haven't watched the videos, but my understanding is it's a responsive digital screen.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you've got a digital screen, and you've got your piece. Like the
Okay.
board game will be on the screen, and the board is responsive to the pieces. The pieces have chips in
Some
them,
kind of right.
and you put the board on.
Yeah,
and,
how much does this sucker cost?
I don't know yet. It's in a demo form.
what
But
did you call them?
Cool Mini or not?
Oh, Cool Mini. or not.
Simon.
Yeah, right. Simon.
Come on.
Right. So
I refuse.
So I think you buy the table, you buy the surface, and then the games will probably include the pieces with the chips, and other companies will be able to make games for it. I
And it'll
think.
probably have like some rules.
This kind of
driven
size?
stuff.
I don't know how big it is. Again,
It's
I
got to be
haven't.
smaller than this.
I would think at most it's going to be this size, or maybe even about 2/3 of this size at the most, because that's a big surface for something.
Spill a drink on it.
Yeah,
I'd be
I mean,
interested to see that.
No
I'm
drinks in the
wondering
room.
what the price point's going to be.
right. Like I said, that's something I actually want to go see. And
Take the
and-
price of a TV, the price of a table.
And right, and much like your app for the game you were talking about, I think it does a lot of the heavy lifting when you're playing the game because it knows the rules and it knows what needs to be tracked or processes. So it's kind of a mixture of both.
Like
'cause-
if I go here, it'll give me my
Right,
resources. or
right,
whatever.
exactly. Apps and app versions of board games have become very popular. So it's, I think, the evolution of blending those together. And there's been a few other things that have tried stuff like that, right?
Yeah, the problem that you have though, it's not portable.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Well, maybe
I
it
haven't- I
is.
haven't seen it. I mean, if it's only the size of a board,
Right.
a fold-out board, which is going to be what 24 by 24 at the most, and then it's only that thick, you could put that in a case like a chessboard and carry it, right? I mean,
Possibly.
I don't know. I guess
Well,
it
we'll just have to wait and see.
have to wait and see, right? So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I wish I could remember the name of it. It starts with a T, but that's something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Huh.
What would you be looking forward to seeing if you were going, Doug?
Honestly, I would just be looking forward to try to pick up a few games that are a little limited in quantity. I'd hit up Capstone, I'd hit up the BGG store, maybe try to buy a copy of Yenzi if they had it, things like that.
If only you knew some people that were going that could do that for you.
Yeah. But I'm poor, so hitting them up would be more like begging them to trade.
Jason played Yenzi at Charcon.
Yeah.
He played with Jeremy and Patrick and
Yeah.
someone else. I don't remember who else.
Yeah,
Jason.
He played with Chris Hall.
What did I not say? Jason. Jason. Corn.
Jason taught it. He played. It was Chris Hall.
Chris didn't. They started at 11 o'clock at night and played till 4 in the morning.
Then he played it twice.
Oh, okay. They said that it was good, but it took way too long. It was just.
Actually, Jason was playing it while they were talking about it with whoever they talked about it with. Jason Matthews on their podcast, on their stream.
Oh, so he played that after. Yeah, he played with them in the hotel Friday night. So
And then Saturday he played it with Chris Hall and a few other people. That's what it was.
yeah. All
Well,
right.
maybe we'll get a game for you, Doug.
Just have to give us a list.
Yep.
Yep. I'll think about it.
Well, Rachel, thanks for being our guest. You were very talkative. We had trouble getting a word in edgewise.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching the Charcast.